Hey there guys, welcome to another video on the channel. It is Hazard12 here and I've got a super exciting custom tactic to share with all of my friends here. Just before we get into it, just a very quick explanation about the channel, a bit of an update I guess. Every Thursday 5 PM I will be releasing a video such as this, a custom tactic of the week if you like, and I will then use it during FUT Champs, and I will post a video every Monday at 5 PM of my FUT Champs highlights, and we'll just see how it worked over the weekend and how well it did, and we'll see what rank I can get and which tactic truly worked best for myself. What I think would be super cool is if people also did the same thing. So if you watch this video today and you try it out and use it over FUT Champs, on Monday's video let me know how you got on, or comment below on this video if you want. It doesn't really make a difference, but it'd be really cool if we can all try these kind of things together and see just how good it is, if it works really well for everyone. I'm sure it will, otherwise I wouldn't be posting it. I have a lot of faith in my tactics. I wouldn't put them online if I thought that they were crap, because obviously people would tell me how crap they are. Fortunately, that's not happened yet, so let's hope it doesn't happen now. Just dead quickly again before we get into it, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone lately. The support's been amazing. A lot of new subscribers on the channel, so if you are new, welcome. It's great to have you here, and I really, really appreciate it. Enough of me rambling on then, let's jump straight on into the tactics. So it's going to be underneath my ultra defensive bit. That's just ironic. It's definitely not ultra defensive at all. I'll talk a little bit about it in a bit of detail, but we have got some clips and goals at the end as well for gameplay, so you guys can see it in a bit more, a bit easier if you can visualize it. I guess you can see how the tactic works a little bit easier in your head. So defensive style, I always go with balance. I always find it the best way. Occasionally I do go with press after possession loss. I have tried pressure on heavy touch before, but I've always found the best way is balance. I just think that you can pick and choose, and I say it all the time, but you can pick and choose how and when to defend. Do you want to be aggressive, or do you like holding back a little bit and holding shape? With this tactic, I like being on the front foot. With most tactics, I always find that's the most effective way to play. Trying to box your opponent in their half and win the ball back high up the pitch. That's definitely the way I like to play, and it definitely worked with this tactic. Defensive width, yeah, just leave it on 50. I tend not to mess around too much with the defensive width. I've said before in the past, I don't want my defenders too far apart from each other, so I tend to just leave it on the default settings. Depth, we've gone for a very high depth of 70. I just think that that actually suits not just my style of play, but most people's styles of play. Most people are quite impatient, if we're honest with each other. You know, we want to win the ball back as quick as we can, and we want to make sure we're on the attack as soon as possible. Playing with a high depth is a way to do that, basically. It's like a natural offside trap, and it's also a natural press. So don't be afraid to try and win the ball back with your centre-backs on the halfway line. Don't go nuts, obviously, because you might get caught out, and I do get caught out. It happens, it's one of them. But I think it's still the best way to play. I still think it's really effective in terms of winning the ball back and keeping pressure on your opponent. Build-up play and chance creation is just balanced and direct passing. I find it to be the best combination. I do sometimes quite like to use long ball and balance, like the other way around, balance. But I do find that balanced and direct passing is the most effective way to play. Players just making runs off the ball. You can obviously manually do that. You've got your L1s and stuff to make your players run when you're in possession. But I just find sometimes it's not always possible to do that, and you want your players making those runs in behind. So I think that's the best combo. Width, again, I don't mess around with it too much. I sometimes go down to 40 or up to 60, but I'm pretty happy in the middle of 50 here. It's pretty much personal preference. You'll see from the instructions I don't need a massively high width, and you'll see why in maybe like 30 seconds. But yeah, I tend not to mess with it too much because I don't want my players being massively too far apart from each other. Players in the box I leave on 5. The formation that we're using has got 2 strikers and a cam. Or is it a centre? Well, I think it's a centre mid. He's got to get in the box for cross on, so he's already going to be there. That's already 3 players. We don't need to be forcing, this CDM or whatever that we don't want too far forward getting into the box, and then we'll be vulnerable to the counter attack. So 5-5 is always the best balance at the happy medium. Corners 2, this, and free kicks 1. These are personal preferences. I find I score the most goals with corners on 2, but I know a lot of people score goals with corners down on 1. So again, it's completely up to you how you want to position this. And free kicks, I never have that high in the 1 because I never cross it in from free kicks. But again, that is completely personal preference. So the formation is one that I haven't seen many people actually use this year. I think it was new either this year or last year. I don't know if I'm making that up. But it's a 4-1-3-2, and that's how my team lines up. If you want to look at it, that is how it is. So we'll just go straight into the instructions, and we'll start from the back and work our way up. Goalkeeper is default settings, as is the 2 centre backs. The left back and the right back have the same settings. That is just a run type of overlap. I just find that that's really the best way to have your defenders playing. I don't see many people use inverted runs, Personally, I've never had a great success with it, but you know, if you prefer that, you prefer that. I just think that this is the best way for them to complement the attack, getting in behind and you know, doing some pullbacks for anyone in the middle. CDM, I have Fernandinho. Pretty standard CDM instructions here. Cut, pass and lane, stay back while attacking, and cover centre. You can mess around with the interceptions. Aggressive interceptions can work sometimes, but you know, other times you might find that he's being dragged out of position a bit too much and he's not quite winning the ball back as often as you may like. So I keep it on normal, but again, if you want to experiment, then feel free. I do think that that could have some success, but for my personal play style, I found that normal interceptions was the best way for me to go. In front of him, the centre mid, I've got get forward, get into the box for cross, and cover centre. Again, pretty standard stuff. I have this triangle behind him, the CDI with two centre backs who aren't going to go anywhere. They're going to be, you know, sat back and obviously defending. So I'm happy for this centre mid to have a bit of a free role, just to kind of go up in wherever he wants to, supporting the attack. And I find it to be most effective because he will pick up positions that the two strikers, as you will see in a moment, will leave for him, especially with this direct passing. It's just the best way, I think, to have the centre mid. He's going to be roaming around, making runs in behind and scoring goals that you probably wouldn't expect a centre mid to score, getting into positions that you probably didn't think he would be getting into. Two wingers, they're going to have the same settings as well, the same tactics. Stay wide and get in the box for cross. Now, there are two things you can change here. If you want, if you are a bit worried about how attacking it is, because you can, you know, sometimes just have 2 or 3 players at the back defending counter-attacks at times, and I know some people may not be massively comfortable with that. So if that's the case, you can come back on defense on these guys. I have tried it and it's perfectly fine. It doesn't affect the attack too much, and it can actually be quite helpful. Just personally, I don't feel like it's necessary for myself. I don't feel like it makes a world of difference. But if you are a bit worried about how attacking it is, then do feel free to do that, and I do think it will be a little bit more solid for you rather than just straight up attacking. The same can be said for your centre, for your fullback. Sorry, you can just put them on stay back while attacking as well if you are a little bit wary. But the stay wide thing, I think, is really, really super effective in this year's game. I don't see many people using it at all, but you can spread the play. There's always an option going forward, and they can get to the byline and pull it back for one of your strikers in the middle, and I think it is criminally underrated just how good it is. So the two strikers, then again, they are going to have slightly different instructions. My right striker, don't really think it makes a world of difference if you choose to have this on your left striker, you know, if you change it around. But he's going to have getting behind on, and the rest is just the default settings. And then my left striker is going to have getting behind but stay central on. So the reason for this is just because what you'll find is staying central doesn't necessarily mean in the center of the pitch. It just means on their side. So if your left striker, for example, he's just going to stay in the middle but on the left. But if you find that Origi, my right striker, is, you know, on the default settings, he might drift wide a little bit, and you'll find that Traore is happy to take up the spaces that he leaves in behind. So it actually kind of shifts the left striker slightly more central, so you've got a person who is like directly in the middle of the pitch making runs in between the two centre backs, not off the back of a centre back, if that makes sense. I hope it does. But yeah, that is the tactic, guys. It works really, really well. I was really, really happy with it. I scored lots of goals with it, and I've got some clips now to show you guys. So I hope you enjoyed the explanation, and I will see you in a sec. So then, guys, into the clips we go, and I just have to say this has been my favourite tactic in terms of attacking so far this year. It was an absolute blast. It was just constant pressure on my opponent, constantly having my opponents pushed back into their half. As always, when I do these tactic videos, I do test the tactic multiple times. I don't just do 1 or 2 games. I do it at least 10 to 15 games to make sure that I'm actually playing enough games to make sure the tactic is actually working, and I'm not just playing opponents who I might just happen to be better than. I make sure I play a wide range of people to make sure that the tactic works properly, and it definitely does. Do concede a couple of goals, but I put that down to my own personal ability. I've not been great at defending over the past week or 2 that I've been playing. I think I just need to work on it on a personal level. But the tactic is just so much fun, honestly. Like, you're constantly getting in behind, you're constantly on the front foot. There's always an option with the wingers on stay wide. It's just like a dream. You win the ball back on the counter, and I can assure you 90 to 95% of the time you've got someone on the left or someone on the right bombing on into acres of space, going down to the byline, pulling it back to someone who wants to put the ball into an open goal. and it works really well. If you're confident enough just being a bit aggressive with your defenders, being a bit aggressive in your tackles, and being a bit aggressive in your press, I do think you'll have a lot of success with this tactic. It was just so much fun to use, and when you're winning the ball back high up the pitch, not only are you obviously staying on the attack, you're preventing your opponent from attacking you. So I really do think if you do want to, press, and you are quite good at that, then I think you will have a real good time with this tactic. I'm really excited to use it in Foot Champs this weekend. I do think we could have quite a lot of success with it. I played, like I said, a fair few games with it on Rivals, and I don't think I lost. So I'm hoping I can do the same thing on Foot Champs this weekend, and hopefully bag some pretty awesome rewards. We did score, I think, 4 goals in less than 2 halves of FIFA gameplay. Not 4 goals, sorry. 10 goals in less than 2 halves of FIFA gameplay. So that just shows just how well this tactic can work going forward. And I really hope, if you guys give this a go, I really hope you have the exact same success that I did and enjoy it just as much as I did. But that's the end of the video now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe, and please do drop a like if you liked the video. Peace.